Mark your calendars because Cheekwood is throwing its very first community celebration, June 3rd through June 7th. And guess what? You're invited. Enjoy 5 days packed full of fun for all ages, from free yoga and $5 gardening classes to live music, puppets, and even a Taylor Swift dance party. And when the sun goes down, catch the Princess Bride under the stars or a Shakespearean cocktail crawl. It's all happening at Cheekwood. Learn more at cheekwood.org. Today on CityCast Nashville, get your hats ready because the 84th Iroquois Steeplechase is happening this Saturday, May 10th at Percy Warner Park. It's one of the year's biggest C and B scene events, and it helps raise vital funds for the Monroe Correll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt. Here to walk us through the high fashion and high drama is fashion stylist and editor Milton White. It's Thursday, May 8th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Last night I was out with a friend in Nashville. She's lived here for 10 years. I grew up here. She had never heard of Steeplechase. How would you describe Steeplechase to someone who has never heard of it?
Well, first of all, I'm going to have to get over the shock of somebody not ever hearing it, having lived here. But once I'm past that, the best way to describe it is kind of a different version of Kentucky Derby. It's a fantastic day drinking party. I would also say, and I'm probably going to get hit for this, people go that are really more interested in everything else about Steeplechase but the races. I mean, some people do watch the races, but that's not, I think, the priority. It's kind of where you are, what you're wearing, how great or mediocre that is, and, where's your next cocktail coming from?
Is it high fashion, high society, high drama?
It is all of those things and more, because you have boxes, of course, and most of those box owners have had those boxes for years. They're passed down from one generation to another. If you want a box, you're on a waiting list like I am. And then in, Paddock Club, which is, I'm a vampire. I really don't want to expose my delicate flesh to the sun. I want to be somewhere that's covered. Otherwise, you're kind of relegated to, and relegated is maybe not the right word, but I have had friends that have been in the tailgating section for years, and that feels a little frat party-ish maybe.
The only time I've been, I was in the tailgating area. It was 20 years ago, I will say.
I have a fashion story for my first time at Steeplechase, and it was tailgating, and it was kind of a bit of a disaster, but I have a friend who lives in Brentwood, and she had been doing this for years. And she was maybe not newly married, but had been married a couple years. And we all got over to her house really, really early. She had catered this beautiful, fabulous, delicious breakfast. She hired a swing band. So we were kind of pre-gaming at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Everybody piled into cars to drive over, of course, to Percy Warner Park. And I somehow missed getting in the car. I was probably going back to the bar for a drink. But anyway, so I missed getting in the car with everyone, so I had to drive by myself, which was fine. But then you're walking from where you park your car all the way to the infield or into the park and then to the infield and trying to figure out where you are. Well, that year, I wore this really great black tunic shirt. It was a long sleeve, but it was cotton and, breathable. And it had like white stitching around the edges of the collar and the hem and the sleeves. And I wore these white jeans and like a white straw fedora. And I wore these not expensive, but really nice black thong sandals. The thong sandals and the white jeans were not a great combination. And I will tell you why. It had rained the day before, which it almost always does. And you know what rain does with dirt? It makes little mud babies. And so what ended up happening, by the time I got to the infield to my friends, they had turned me around. And what did they find? They found mud from the top of my hat to the bottom of the edges of my jeans. My entire backside was literally covered in mud. And I had no idea until I got to our area. My flip-flops or my sandals had caused this backsplash. And to add insult to injury, it was so muddy that roaming around and trying to find people and socialize, one after another, my shoe slipped off of my foot into the mud, never to be ever seen again. So my advice is, even if you are virginal and are getting married and whatnot around Steeplechase, do not wear white. And I would also probably not advise wearing any sort of sandal. Wear a cute boot, or if you're into wearing any sort of heel, get a wedge. Now, I would advise if you're doing some sort of editorial kind of look and you're going straight from, I don't know, a helicopter to Royal 615, where you're not going to be in the grass or the mud, then sure, wear a heel. But I would save my Jimmy Choos for something else. And really, probably, I would wear a boot or a wedge because you're going to need the support because the ground is sinking.
Well, I want to get more into the fashion itself because obviously with the Kentucky Derby, I know that you wear hats. Everyone wear hats. What's the deal here in Nashville?
Women should definitely wear hats. If you're a woman coming to Steeplechase without a hat, it was almost like back in the day. If you were Catholic and went to church and went to mass on Sunday, you covered your head. It's the same type of thing. You're not going to walk into, you can, but you're going to be the only person walking into Steeplechase without a hat. The bigger, the grander, the more elaborate, the better. There are contests from most of the publications, best dressed, who's got the best hat. That criteria for judging that will maybe vary, but as a woman, you want to wear a hat. And men, I wouldn't say all of them, but this is a time of year where I notice that men that usually don't care about what they wear and whether it's coordinated or even clean, they are putting a lot of effort into patterned jackets and like cool short with a really great shoe that hopefully is not going to get messed up in the mud. Some sort of really great hat that has a contrasting band or little feathers, or all those things are important, I think, to Steeplechase. Especially, this is the one time where you want everyone else to notice you and what you're wearing.
Oh, I love that. So you can cause a scene. Question, does your sweet little dog that is obviously present also own a little hat?
You know, she and her brother, neither one of them have hats, but now that you have said that, I feel challenged to find them little hats.
Are people bringing little purse dogs to Steeplechase?
No, it's not great. I mean, it's not really great to have them around the horses, and there's really nowhere for them, and it's also just so hot.
What are the biggest fashion hits and misses you've seen at Steeplechase?
For me, I think one of the biggest hits is to see women. They're always beautiful floral dresses, but it's kind of like that Devil Wears Prada moment. Florals for spring, groundbreak, you know what I mean? So that's not anything new. It's always nice to see the ones that are really pretty. I love it when somebody does like a really cool, like full pant and maybe a crop top or a bra top or something that's obviously meant to like be cool because it's a hot day, but brave enough to kind of wear pants.
And then do these fabulous hats always match the outfits as well?
In their way. So sometimes you'll find that a hat, somebody will do something in all the same color. Sometimes you'll see them do all the same things in the same color way. So they're wearing a pink hat and maybe a pink dress, but they're not quite the same shade. Maybe the dress is lighter. So it's tonal, but it's kind of this intentional thing. I, again, personally, as a fashion editor, stylist, whatever you want to call me, I like it when everything really works together, but it's not completely matchy-matchy. For Steeplechase, you usually are choosing your hat first and designing your entire outfit around your hat. You know, you'll have people that will invest in these really expensive hats that they will probably never wear again. When was the last time you went to Steeplechase?
20 years ago.
So do you remember most of it?
A little bit. I do remember my date wore a pink suit, and I thought it was so hot that a man showed up to pick me up in a pink suit. It was really pretty cute. I think he was burning up, though, because it was like, a suit and jacket type situation.
I think it's very powerful when men wear pink, and especially in the spring for these types of events. Was it seersucker?
I believe it was, actually.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those pink and white seersucker suits always look fantastic. But last year, was it last year or the year before, there was a woman who wore a hat, and the brim was so large or long, however you want, it literally touched the ground behind her.
So would that count as a notorious fashion miss outside of your muddy flip-flop situation? Or were you here for it?
I was kind of here for it. What she did was, like, from the back, you couldn't see her at all. And then when she turned, like, the hat was kind of heavy, so she couldn't turn very easily. But when she turned, she was in this really teeny tiny dress. So it was like this juxtaposition of like a short and a long that looked really great. But you also have these like hats that look like they were made at home in the dark with bad scissors.
Oh, Milton, I love it.
I mean, TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and you could go in and get a hat inexpensively, or you get two hats so that if you craft one and screw it up, you at least have a backup.
Right. Cowboy Up Nashville. Music City Rodeo, Nashville's first and only PRCA rodeo, is coming to Bridgestone Arena for 3 unforgettable nights featuring the world's top pro rodeo athletes and live music from Nashville legends. Reba on May 29th, Jelly Roll on May 30th, and Tim McGraw on May 31st. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, each night ticketed separately. For more information, visit MusicCityRodeo.com. If you haven't heard yet, Cheekwood is hosting their very first community celebration, June 3rd through June 7th. That's 5 days packed full of fun for all ages. During the day, you can come and enjoy free yoga with Small World Yoga. Explore a musical petting zoo brought to you by our friends at the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. Catch performances by the Nashville Opera or the Nashville Puppet Truck. There will also be a friendship bracelet making station, animals from the Nashville Zoo. Oh, and how could I forget? $5 gardening classes for the whole family. Then, as the sun sets, grab dinner from one of the many food trucks and watch The Princess Bride under the stars. Or sip your way through a Shakespearean cocktail crawl, courtesy of the Nashville Shakespeare Festival. You can also catch an evening with Grammy Award winner Rodney Crowell, dance to music from Sonny Dada and his 12-piece band, or sing along to everyone's favorite Beatles songs with Forever Abbey Road. There's something for everyone of all ages, so come on by. Learn more at cheekwood.org. This Mother's Day, if you're fortunate enough to have a great mom in your life, do not forget to call her like I did last year. To make it up to my mom this year, I am showing up with an Aura digital frame fully loaded with adorable photos of, well, me. I picked out the most ridiculous photos I could find, like baby me eating a houseplant or that awkward senior pic where I'm hugging a fence for some reason. After we have a good laugh, I'll show my mom how easy it is to swap out the pictures so she can add in shots of her grandkids too. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter and featured in 495 gift guides last year. I know my mom will love it, and no matter who you give it to, they will too. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver Mat frame. That's auraframes.com. Promo code CityCast. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. All right, if someone wanted to make a statement this year, what would you style them in?
I would do something in metallic, potentially, but not like beaded, but like a metallic shiny fabric. I love Dolce & Gabbana's approach where they mix, they mix like animal prints with like fruit, like cherries or limes or lemons or whatever. That's something that I would do too. I would do like, especially with guys, I would do like pattern mixing and color mixing and things like that.
That sounds very bold.
It is, but this is a day that you can get away with it and not feel subconscious because everyone, I don't know that I would use the term as trying to outdo each other, but this is the day to be, I will borrow a phrase from like the LGBTQ. This is the day to be like loud and proud.
Yes. Oh, see, I love this for Nashville. And it's at a horse race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been like this for 40 some years.
Well, I do remember, through my alcohol phase, that yes, everyone really was outdoing each other. It one-upping each other with every outfit. And it was just a spectacle. Well, speaking of alcohol, does Nashville have a signature cocktail like Kentucky has the mint julep?
Somebody's probably going to hit me. No, I don't know. There are lots of mint juleps, but I also find that like if you're in Paddock Club where there's a full bar and it's open bar, there's a lot of bubbles. And that's kind of my go-to thing right now. And it kind of keeps me on the straight and narrow, believe it or not. Then there are like martinis, vodka tonics, gin and tonic, like things like that. Probably not a lot of exotic cocktails. The mint juleps are abundant, and you find people are bringing their copper cups and all of that if they can sneak them in. What
I love about Steeplechase is it truly is not really all about the horses, right? But the horses are there. People are betting on them. Is that right?
The horses are there, and there are people that are watching the races. It is not like Churchill Downs where you can actually go and place bets on the horses because in those places, gambling is actually legal. Gambling is illegal here. So there may be people that have wagers and stuff on the side, but betting on the horses is actually not a official part of steeplechase. Now, with legislation potentially changing, every year or in and around those things, who knows? I don't even know where they would actually put it. I'm not sure if there's a central location that would be easily accessible the way that it's laid out now. But I'm sure that if the opportunity arose, and this is a nonprofit, and it's a great cause, and you want to raise as much money as possible. So if taking bets on the races helps do that, and it's legal, I'm sure they'll figure out a way to do it.
Do people actually care about the horses? Are they watching? I guess my question really is does it even need to be a horse race, or can we just start throwing garden parties?
I think that with any great party, it almost always starts with some sort of cause. And I think that if you took it, so steeplechase in terms of what's going on socially could exist without the races. But there are people that are interested, just not everyone. But I also think if you took that away from it, it just wouldn't be the same.
Well, so families have been coming to this event for generations, and I'm sure that means that there's a lot of tea. What is the wildest behind-the-scenes moment you've witnessed or heard about?
I have to say that I haven't witnessed anything, but there are stories about, how do I say this delicately, about people hooking up like in the watchtower and kind of behind the stands or behind the scene. Like there are from time, that doesn't happen all the time, but there are people that there are people that like to do things in public that they probably should be doing in private. And
yes.
I think love the risk of possibility of getting caught.
Ooh, what a thrill. Thrill at steeplechase.
I know. And I'm not encouraging that behavior necessarily. But those are the things that I've kind of heard. And it's been like, well, did you know that so-and-so did this? And I certainly cannot mention any names because I would probably be sued. And, there's certainly people that are overserved and get sick or pass out. And that's not terribly exciting. But sometimes those people will say more than they should. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, keep going.
Oh, I love it. I love the tea. Well, thank you. We didn't out anybody, so that's good. I know names, but be on the lookout maybe for, some exhibitionists.
Yeah, well, I will say this. If you see grass stains, that's a big giveaway.
Oh, that is a good big giveaway. All right. Well, so you're originally from Nashville, although you spent some time away. You lived in D.C. and New York City, but then returned. So what makes this a quintessential Nashville event, in your opinion?
I think that what makes it it's somewhat close to the way it started. There was a deliberate effort to kind of elevate the event because it really started with families actually sitting on a lawn and watching these races happen. So they have elevated, but they have not attempted to make it like Churchill Downs and the Derby and things like that. Everyone here is, I don't like being in the sun, but everyone else does. Everyone enjoys having the boxes and being able to kind of decorate and do what they will with their particular boxes. I have a friend who brings a canopy every year and fabulous charcuterie boards and all kinds of decorative dessert boards and things like that. So I'm always looking for her tent because there's always great food that is beautifully laid out. And that's, I think, one of the things that makes this event what it is and quintessentially Nashville. And also, too, really for the most part, the attendees are really lovely people and get along very well. And there's that kind of camaraderie.
Well, I think when I went 20 years ago, I was invited because my friend started dating a young fellow from Belmead whose grandmother had a box. And so we really did have to be somewhat on our good behavior because the grandmother's friends were watching us closely. And, we were in college and just, wanting to have a blast, but we were somewhat behaved, except that I did bring my sister and things got a little crazy. It was fun. It's so much fun. And I do want to just ask, though, if one of our listeners wants to come for the very first time this year, but they're more of a tailgate person rather than, a box or hill person, What's your advice for them to still keep it fabulous when they're slumming it?
I think that really, no matter where you are, it is not about how expensive your dress, suit, hat is. It is really about how great looking it is. If you can shop at any sort of like consignment or resale, I know that some people don't want to wear shoes or hats and things like that other people have worn before, but then you have people that don't care. And if you follow that category, you may be able to find something really, really fabulous in your price range. There she goes. That's enough, Snow. You get on the sofa for Daddy. They're so spoiled. Sorry. Anyway.
Oh, I love it.
As I was saying, it's my advice. If I was going to do tailgating, I would do a super cute sundress that you could wear again to, some parties that maybe are not completely formal, but are not informal, to weddings, etc. I would pair that with a really great hat. And if it means buying something inexpensive from, like I said, from TJ Maxx and just applying a flower to it, that's all that you really need. And with the guys, I probably would not do a t-shirt because I feel like this event calls for a little bit more effort, but I would do like a short sleeve button down and a really great short. And it could be a seersucker short. It could be a madras short. It could be a solid linen short, but any of those shorts should be things that, again, you can kind of wear to things that fall into a category that it's not completely informal, but not totally formal. And it kind of will keep you cool throughout the day.
Great ideas, great suggestions and tips. Milton, this has been so much fun to talk to you. And honestly, I can't wait to see. You're always photographed all over town. I'm curious if maybe we'll get a picture of what you're going to wear this year in Nashville Lifestyles. So we'll have to check back and see what you wear.
I'm going to have to figure that out, actually.
Well, this really has been a treat. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful time at Steeplechase.
Thank you. Am I going to see you at Steeplechase?
You never know. You never know.
Okay. I will look for you.
I will come find you if I'm there. All right. Thank you, Milton.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. See you at Steeplechase. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!